the ANC did not have dollars. It was a businessman who said he had dollars in his farm, and let the businessman answer for his businesses. It's not ANC's business.
The South African Revenue Service was outperforming itself. Every year the SARS would say, we are going to collect R1 billion. At the end of the financial year, it's collected $1.25 billion. It was always like that for a number of years. It was outperforming itself. SARS. Then around 2024, sorry. I'm sorry about the 2014, 2015, 2016, it started behaving in the opposite direction, underperforming. That is why Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa, as President of the Republic, constituted a judicial commission of inquiry into SARS to explain this matter. What has happened to SARS that is now underperforming in the way that it has? And that commission was chaired by Judge Nugent, retired judge. I recommend comments that you should read that report, because when the report was given at the end of 2018, President Ramaphosa released it in public. So it's there for the public, it's in the public domain. And what that report says is that there was a deliberate decision by some people to destroy SARS. And now bear in mind, comrades, that SARS is responsible for 95% of state revenues. If you destroy SARS, you destroy the democratic state. No money to pay civil servants or soldiers or anything. Without SARS, the state cannot exist. The Nugent Commission report says a deliberate decision was taken by some people to destroy the institution SARS. They didn't steal a single cent. When the Zondo Commission said, you saw now the big issue around the Zondo Commission was that there was a lot of looting, state agencies, this and that and the other. But I'm saying in the SARS case, there was no looting. Because the objective was to destroy this institution so that this ANC government doesn't have the means to govern. And that I'm saying, the Nugent Commission report says this was a deliberate decision and then spells out the steps that were taken to achieve that objective of the destruction of SARS. It's in the report, it's on the internet, read it, comrades. That was an intervention of the counter-revolution in order to make sure that it wins the war by making sure that the ANC government loses. You've got the crisis around electricity. Again, I think all of us are old enough here to remember. The first national breakdown, the national load, what is called load shedding, that's the power cut, was in January 2008. I was President of the Republic at the time, and so when I had to deliver the State of the Nation address, I had to apologize to the nation for whatever we have done as a government that's wrong, which has resulted in this loss of electricity. But Comrade Gwede, we apologize because we didn't know what had happened. What had happened, comrades, is this. Eskom had an internal monitoring system. There was a rule in Eskom that at each one of the coal-fired power stations, at each one, there must be at least every day 22 days supply of coal at the power station. The monitoring system within the ESCOM was to ensure that all of the power stations observed that rule. So from November 2007, its internal mechanism starts alerting the individual power stations that you are running out of coal. Replenish. You are running out of coal, replenish. They ignored it. The reason there was a complete power cut in January 2008 is because they ran out of coal. Deliberately, the managers at the power stations did not replenish. It was an internally generated crisis. And one of the immediate consequences was that, according to its own rules and regulations, ESCOM declared an emergency. And what an emergency meant was that now you don't have to tender for coal, you have got to buy with the coal where it is. That immediately doubled the price of coal to ESCOM, overnight. It was deliberate, it was deliberately caused. I'm saying we apologized in February 2008 in the State of the Nation address because we didn't know this truth. This truth is dug out many years later by a special investigation unit, an SIU. Let me jump to the 2024 national and provincial elections. You have this result, one of the results. A new organization called the MK Party suddenly gets this huge support in KZN. Gauteng a bit, Mpumalanga a bit. Why? And suddenly the ANC drops to whatever. Why have this population suddenly decided in KZN to abandon the ANC in these numbers? I had my own differences with the ANC leadership, provincial. But that was not why you had that result. The reason we had that result is because I'm coming back, comrades, to what I was saying about the National Security Management System. It was the activation of that National Security Management System which produced that result. Because that machinery had never been dismantled. I was saying we raised this matter with the TRC. The TRC tried. You go and look at the records of the TRC. The TRC tried to get into this matter, but couldn't produce any result. That was the machinery that was used to produce that result in KZN. You see its phenomenon, for instance, with the Gauteng hostels. You remember during this so-called war on black violence, those were IFP hostels. When we big clash with the ANC communities, IFP decide themselves. These were IFP hostels. But what happened in 2024? They all abandoned the IFP and went with the MK Party. Why? It's because they are controlled by the same person. It's the same person who controlled them when they were IFP hostels. The same person who controlled them when they were IFP hostels, the same person who controls them today as MK hostels, MK Party hostels. I'm saying, comrades, that's the counter-revolution, that's how it works. Let me end here. I've gone way beyond my 15 minutes. You have You have a mayhem that happens in July 2021. You remember that? Yeah. And the story that is told is that the people were angry with the ANC because the ANC had allowed Jacob Zuma to be sentenced by the Constitutional Court and was sent to jail. And the people were so angry, they stood up in solidarity with Jacob Zuma. It's a lie. A complete lie. What happened, comrades, was the counter-revolution decided to test its strength, to see whether it could in fact destabilize the country. It then acted, caused that whole mayhem, just to find out whether it could in fact paralyze South Africa for its own purposes. There's a very interesting interview given by General Roland de Vries. Roland de Vries, by the time we come to 1994, is the deputy leader of the army in the SADF, General de Vries. And General de Vries explains what happened with regard to those July 2021 events. He says that thing was well planned, well carried out. From such and such a day, it's a whole fleet of cars that were sent out to do various things. They even didn't have registration numbers to produce this outcome. And what it managed to do, it showed, this is what de Vries said, that actually this democratic state, including the police, had no capacity to defend democratic South Africa.
We know that it might not affect you as the EFF, but you've learned this morning that the ANC has decided to withdraw from the Western Cape High Court in the Pala matter of the president. Any reaction as the EFF when we've learned of the news that the ANC has decided to withdraw in the matter as an interested party?
The ANC doesn't learn. I don't know what they were doing in the Western Cape High Court. They don't learn because it is this kind of conduct of supporting Zuma with everything and even lying by themselves. Then they say they engage in renewal, meaning we're going to start doing things differently in a manner that has got credibility and integrity, and you go and get involved in a personal matter. Because President Mbeki put it very clear that the ANC did not have dollars. It was a businessman who said he had dollars in his farm, and let the businessman answer for his businesses. It's not ANC's business. So I think someone moved in a manner that was not properly advised, and for sure they later got proper advice.
Sorry. Mr. Malema from Newsroom Africa again. Just in terms of before this process actually started, there were murmurs from the opposition benches essentially that the speaker must recuse herself from the oversight role that she would be playing in the Section 89 process. You have made your position clear now, given the fact that she decided not to oppose the application by the president, that essentially you feel that she has abdicated her responsibility. That's the majority view from some members of parliament. The impeachment committee doesn't have any sort of legal standing in challenging the Speaker of the National Assembly in her role, in her oversight role. What mechanisms will you be employing, given the fact that you said action must be taken?
Well, we have to put a motion in Parliament so that the Parliament can take note that the Speaker has abandoned it. And we feel very strong that this matter that has got to do with impeachment must be shifted to the office of the Deputy Speaker. Our Speaker is highly conflicted, and that motion, we will sponsor it in Parliament, that the Deputy Speaker must be the one who oversees the work of the impeachment committee, because the Speaker really is conflicted. Firstly, we wrote him a letter as the EFF and said, you cannot choose the legal. Firstly, you must oppose, But you cannot choose the lawyers that are going to oppose because you voted no against the panel report. And now you go and assemble a team that must go and defend the panel report. We think you're conflicted because you've already expressed your view. You're just going to make a mockery of the whole process because you'll appoint lawyers that are not capable to deal with those matters, because lawyers work according to the energy of the client. If the client is not so interested in the matter, even the lawyers will drag their feet. So give the matter to the Deputy Speaker, who can assemble a team. But any matter that has got to do with impeachment and needs the attention of the Speaker's office, let it be the Deputy Speaker who deals with this matter. So we feel strong that Parliament must resolve that the Deputy Speaker must be the one that operate with the impeachment committee, so that we don't get frustration. Look, the Speaker says, I'm not objecting, and then the impeachment committee is objecting, yet we come from the same Parliament. Effectively, she has put Parliament into disrepute, and that is a conduct we shouldn't accept. This process has to move smoothly, uninterrupted, and we think the Speaker has got an intention to disrupt and interrupt this process.